For this video essay, we'll look at different scenes from the movie Timbuktu and analyze how through blocking, camera movements, shot sizes, and sound, filmmaker Abderrahmane Sissako offers the audience questions of forms of authority and a reflection on resistance and peaceful protest. The first scene we will look at is the introduction to Zabu, a rebel woman with a bird-like colorful appearance who becomes a key factor in determining our reflections. The first time we see her, Sissako puts the camera on a ground level and brings her closer to the audience with a low angle, which automatically gives her authority, and she becomes a figure we must listen to. Her aura is pretty dominant, as she proudly walks with her head uncovered, violating the rules of the militants. Her colorful long robes and indistinguishable posture turn her almost into a goddess, a powerful entity who walks downhill to meet us at our level, as she descends to match an eye view angle. After she has a confrontation with the jihadists who discuss soccer, we then see her from a bird-eye angle, almost as if we were God seeing her fulfilling an important mission. Very cleverly, Sissako introduces what the directions of the characters' movements represent. Zabu, representing resistance and freedom, walks to the right as if she were walking towards the future, and she imposes an obstacle for the militant's car, which drives to the left, preventing the city from evolving. As the car stops with her extending her arms like a cross, which supports how she has become a superhuman entity, we understand her power and ideals, something that would become key in later parts of the movie. With this powerful introduction to a figure of authority, now we'll look at a different sequence, in a different time and place, the moments that will indicate how would life be if we allow ourselves to be driven by Zabu's lessons. We open by following a football ball, setting an object that will get our attention for the following scenes. A tracking shot of a face-covered jihadist soldier who announces the prohibitions in the land establishes that these moments will be about characters undertaking freedom. A cut to another soldier sitting on the roof looking at us while the off-screen voice states more prohibitions puts us in the position of the citizens. We are supervised by this unhumanistic, almost monstrous being with covered eyes who threatens us with authoritarian rules and guns. After, Sissako takes us to the house of Zabu, where she looks at herself in a tiny mirror with newspaper articles surrounding it. Here, the news articles become a symbol of history, and the mirror as an invasion of privacy, as if we're in the same room as her, and she has confidence in us. She gives us permission to look at history and build the present with it, while the authoritarian soldier says that history must be erased. When we go back to her, we see her in a wide horizontal shot with all the elements in the balcony. She stands on a higher platform, and with her long cape, a white table that resembles a religious altar, and mirrors of reflection, she becomes a preacher and a role model, and we are encouraged to follow her. But now, Sissako captures her from an eye-level angle. She is a leader who, opposed to the soldiers, avoids authority. She invites but does not demand, a more powerful way of changing and persuading. As we follow her closer through her actions as she sings, we have accepted her invitation. The following scene is a continuation of the rules, but now we see 3 soldiers commanding 2 donkeys to pass, yet the animals stay still. Sissako decides to stay in a wide shot that, as opposed to Zabu's place, has vertical walls that imprison the soldiers, a statement that our freedom lies with Zabu, who we have given authority to without being demanded. The following scene is a situation of injustice that gives us a reason to protest. Here is a trail with a visually clear victim, a soccer player. He is lower, in the middle of 2 soldiers behind him and 3 before him. The mise-en-scène entraps him, a sensation accentuated by a close-up when we are revealed he loses the trail. With the same shot, we're invited to feel his pain as the decision to lash him is made. Holding to this shot as he sits in silence gives us the urge to fight back, as we have just experienced the dangers of an authoritarian regime. Now, the way we experience this protest is extremely poetic and silent, yet powerful and impactful. We open with a shot of another football player, full body in between a net as if he was in a prison already. Visually, our hopes are low, but as music fades in and he still prepares to shoot, a donkey crosses. As shown earlier, donkeys are a symbol of freedom. With this cue, characters run playing football without a ball. The camera is moving with them. We levitate with the players. There is nothing that can stop them from playing. Yes, it is devastating, but it's also encouraging. Fascinatingly, the characters start by running left, a way of showing that the kids are running towards the past, which would mean revising history with the hate and desire for vengeance. But then, a missed goal establishes that by running in this direction, victory will not be achieved. A close-up of their feet shows their change of direction. They are now not looking at the past, but at the future. The camera follows a kid with a messy tan shirt as a representation of a new generation who holds the legacy. When this kid scores, we have evidence that by looking forward, letting ourselves go of hate and vengeance, and responding with that violence, we will be able to achieve victory. After this, a motorcycle of soldiers approaches, and even though the music has gotten an evil melody, when we get back to the kids, the rival of the jihadists has not changed their actions, and the music goes to the hopeful melody again. Even with the presence of the soldiers and guns, the union of these kids is stronger. Like this, the scene becomes a symbol of peaceful resistance and hope. We're offered a style of life. What would it be if we follow Zabu's example? We fight for rights and freedom, not by violence, but with union and forgiveness, looking for evolution? Understanding history, not to entrap ourselves in it, but allowing it to help us grow? These are the questions that filmmaker Abderrahmane Sissako allows us to ask ourselves with Timbuktu. This movie is filled with mesmerizing sequences that allow us to even ponder more questions about what happens when we respond with violence. But for the content of this video, we can conclude that Sissako masterfully uses visual directing choices such as blocking, camera movements, shot sizes, and sound to give us reflections on our actions when we need to fight for violated rights.